You gotta come over
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry. If you heard person, I didn't mean it. I just didn't know where I was. Hey, happy Monday, everybody. How are you? Hopefully you can hear us loud and clear. We're doing it in this room today since we have training going on. So a couple things. So one, I had a conversation with the floor over here in New Jersey, and I realized a couple of the issues I think some people are dealing with, and it's pre-qualifying customers. So I should start off by saying this. There's no scenario where you should ever be 2 hours in and have 40 or 50 phone calls already. There's in no universe is that okay. And I'm aware that sometimes there's dead air, and I'm aware that sometimes like hello finance manager, sorry they hung up. And I'm aware sometimes you get calls sent over to you and the customer's already screaming at them, right? Take all those people, throw that in the trash, right? They don't exist, okay? So that's about 30% of what you're going to deal with on any given day could be like that, right? I'm talking about the actual human beings you get to talk to. So if you have 5 people in a row hang up on you, the 6th person that's on the phone, it's your job to keep them on the phone until you turn them into a flip or you turn them into a sale, right? So when we talk about pre-qualifying, Sean, can you explain to the people out there in the world what pre-qualifying is?
Absolutely. So pre-qualifying would be you assuming the customer by whatever information, whether this is their name, their contact info, their age, their loan information, their interest rate, and you assuming by something you saw before you went too far into this call that this person is not going to be somebody that is going to buy it from me. So I am now going to give less of an effort on this specific call because I assume that this person, because they have this last name, doesn't buy it. We understand, we tell people all the time, we understand that certain situations and certain demographics of people don't buy it as often as others. But when you are too good and you think you're good enough to know who's going to buy it and who's not going to buy it before you're giving everybody a full effort, I promise you are just leaving deals on the table, and that's what we need to eliminate as soon as possible.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, every person that you talk to that you get on the phone, you're able to get like a line in your script could potentially be a sale. It really doesn't matter. All those other factors, you have to, the best way to explain it is the best person in the industry is somebody who's brand new and doesn't know any better, right? And all they're going to do is do their best to pitch the script with some enthusiasm, right? And get it turned over to a flip, right? And at that point, move on to the next phone call and do it again. The people who really start to struggle are the people who go a month in, 2 months in, they do pretty well, and now they know everything, right? As soon as you know who's going to buy it and who's not, you have screwed up. You may have some indication on buyers, right? Like you may hear some buying signs, like does it cover this or what happens if this happens, right? There are things called buying signs, but just to assume people aren't going to buy it based on any type of like demographic issue, any other issue when you hear a customer is the worst possible thing you could do because you might be right 9 out of 10 times, right? But that 1 out of 10, that's the difference. So if you treat all 10 of them like they're never going to buy it, then all 10 of them are never going to buy it.
And the issue with going about it that route is a whole reason that this is working so well is because it sounds so standard. We say standard all the time. When you're pitching differently, depending on who the customer is or what car they have or how old they are they male or female, anything like that, it's now immediately not standard anymore because you're doing different things for different people in different situations. When the whole point of this is to make it a baseline, so no matter who you're pitching, it comes off the same with enthusiasm, you're building value, you're telling them why they need it the entire time. So that if for some reason they decide not to buy it, that's when you should almost be shocked at that point. Like, oh, I'm sorry, like it's just so standard, everybody does this, I was surprised. And that's when the whole system works better, because if you're not going about it that route, nothing now sounds standard, and the whole rebuttal system is kind of working backwards because you're not getting yourself in the right spot.
Yeah, and Sean brought up a good point, and this is almost for anything, not just for like stop pre-qualifying people, which is the main part of this conversation, but you have to act like it's all standard, like everybody does this, and when they don't want to do it for whatever reason, you need to act shocked, like you've never expected them to say it. Like, oh, like if somebody's like, oh, well, I'm just not going to do it, you're like, you're not, dude, like what do you mean, right? Like this is the most standard thing. Like you have a loan on there for X amount of time, you're paying this much money, and your car's notorious for having transmission problems, right? Like one of the biggest repairs we see here is a transmission control module that's going to end up costing you like $4,700 to fix. So like, I just figured you were responsible and you were going to do the responsible thing. So, and then just keep moving like it never happened, right? Like key to any objection up front is deflect through it, right? Like as soon as you get an objection for the first time, address it and then move on.
Yeah.
Address it and then move on. Like, hey, I'm busy. I can't handle this right now. Hey, I completely understand that. And if it was up to me, I'd call you whenever, but the computer system calls you, right? And this should have been done already. So I'm going to be as brief as possible at this point, and then move on from wherever you got cut off in the script. So what it is when we say their problem out loud to them and we address it, they know that we heard them,
Yes.
right? Like they recognize that now it's not just, we're not paying you to speak at people, we're paying you to talk to people, right? So we're not, there's a very big difference from speaking at somebody and talking to somebody, right? When you're speaking at somebody, it doesn't matter what the customer's saying, you're just going to say whatever you want anyway.
It comes off rude.
And it comes off rude, and you need to kind of tailor your message based on what the customer's telling you, right? Like, oh, well, I co-signed this for my granddaughter. Oh, well, that was really awesome for you. So your granddaughter drives it, but you were the one that put in your name.
Nice.
All right, that was really nice of you. But how it works, just so you know, is because the car's in your name primarily. That's why we have you on the phone and we have to talk to you. But I'm going to explain to you exactly what we do in this situation when your granddaughter's driving the car because you're the co-signer, right? The other thing is like husband and wife, right? Or they want to talk to somebody else. Oh, perfect. I completely understand you want to talk to X or Y or Z. Are they there right now? No. Okay, we understand this. We deal with it all the time. It's just the computer system calls you and it should have been done already. So I'm going to go over the coverage with you, and then I'll explain exactly what we need to do at this point to buy you and whoever some time.
Yes. And with both rebuttals, this is something we don't maybe talk about as often as we should. If you notice, they're both handled in the same format when we're rebuttaling anything. So like, and it's always like a sandwich, we always say, where you put the bad stuff in the middle because you always want to end. So you start with, I understand and I hear your problem, which is a good thing. It's good to understand someone. It's good to hear them out. It's good to know you've dealt with this before. Then you got to say at one point the problem. The issue is it's a little past due. We couldn't set you up with this level of coverage in the future. And then you end with the solution. But we have a solution to your problem, which is if you do it my way, I'm going to email and mail it out. You'll have a copy in your inbox before the end of the day. You'll have a booklet within a week. And I'll even make sure you have time to sit down to make sure everyone's fully satisfied. And it's everything I said and more.
Now, if you're not somebody who closes deals and you're somebody who's going to strictly flip it, you don't even have to really do that last part in Sean's rebuttal. It's more like, I'm going to, completely understand that you want to talk to somebody. The only issue is you're a little bit past due. It should have been done already. So I'm going to go through the plan with you so you know exactly what this is. And then I'll see exactly what we can do so we don't end up having to close you out today or red flag your VIN number today, right? So you're building suspense and you're building a sense of urgency. Because when we think about it from a flip sending perspective, there's a couple things that should happen. One, it needs to be pitched. Two, it needs to be priced so we know money's involved today. And then three, there has to be a sense of urgency built, right? Like the transitional period is designed for sense of urgency. And Sean had said it at some point last week, but I don't want it to lose value. So like say you watch like Chopped, like a cooking show on the Cooking Network. Before they get rid of one of the contestants, right, there's always a commercial break, okay? So that's a suspense point. You're like, oh, I want to know if Chef A or B is about to get cut from the show. So they put a commercial right there. If they're like, hey, Chef A is no longer going to be with us and hold on for these commercials, you're not going to wait. You already know what the outcome's going to be. So you have to think of it when you send a flip, there's going to be a period where they're either listening to hold music or there's dead air or there's some time for the customer to be on their own. So you need to use a sense of urgency to build suspense, right? Like, hey, at the end of the day, this really should have been done already, and I don't want to see you go from everything covered to nothing covered, and we have to red flag your VIN. So I'm going to get one of my senior finance managers on the line, and I'll see exactly what we have to do to make it as easy as possible for you, right? So we're building suspense. I have a good idea, right? I have a good idea. Things like that, people love a good idea. You can't just be like, hey, I have a really bad idea. I have a good idea, right? Like you have to build suspense throughout the process when you're going to flip somebody, and what that'll do is one of two things. One, it'll make sure more people are on the phone when you get it to the closer, right? Because that's the biggest thing. And two, right, it's going to give you a higher chance to get a sale because now the closer's working from ahead and not from behind, right? Like the first person to tell them that money's involved cannot be the person closing the deal, right? If you're going to flip it over to somebody. The first person to tell them what's covered on the plan can't be the closer because now we're working from behind, right? So you do your end of the bargain and it's set, because at the end of the day, I don't think anybody comes here because they want to suck.
No.
Right? I don't think anybody comes here because
we hope not.
We hope not, right? I don't think anybody comes here because they want to suck, and I don't think anybody comes here because they don't want to make money, right? So if you don't want to suck and you don't want to make money, then we need to start eliminating some of the weaknesses that are across the board and generalize and standardize the process so you can be successful.
Yes. And the opening and closing process generally works best when you, as the opener, we always just say, you're supposed to stand them up and almost give them like the bad news, which is like, look, I know something's on a closeout. I think we got to do something. Let me figure out exactly what we got to do so I can make sure this stays open. And that's when the closer's supposed to come in as like the knight in shining armor. Like, I know that scary person that you're never going to talk to again before me said something crazy has to happen. And that's normally like $300, but it's only going to be $99 because like you're a great person. And like, I'm even going to get you an email and a booklet. So now like the closer asking for $99 feels like they did them a favor as opposed to, you know, feeling like that they're the bad guy because they thought this nice opener was going to send them stuff, and now this evil, mean closer is asking me for money when I didn't know that was going to happen.
Really good point that Sean brought up, and I didn't expect the conversation to go this way, but I'm glad you did.
Sometimes it's happens.
Okay, I'm glad it happened.
We got to roll.
When they're like, send it to me in the mail or send it to me in the email, or they're like, oh, give me the number to call you back. If you immediately say, yeah, absolutely, hold on 1 second, let me see what I can do, you have screwed up the entire call because they were on hold for the wrong reason. Okay. You can, listen, not to be rude, but if every person I talk to on the phone asks for a phone number to call back and I told them to hold on a second, I will have a 100% flip rate, but I will have a less than 1% close rate because I'm putting them on hold for the wrong reason, right? So when they say something like that to you, that's where you have to step up to the plate and be like, listen, this should have already been, I know you want us to call you back, but the problem is this should have been done already, right? And I don't want to move your VIN number to be red flagged and show that you declined the coverage. But I do have a really good idea because we deal with this all the time. So I'm going to put you on hold for a second. I'll see what you can do, or see what we can do to make sure we buy you some time. Yeah. The buy you some time is literally them buying the policy, right? So, hey, oh, just give me the phone number to call you back. All right, hold on 1 second. No, bad, very bad. I understand that you want to call back. It was up to me. I call you whenever. But since the computer system calls you, this should have been done already. So I just don't want to see them red flag your VIN and show that you declined the coverage. But I do have a good idea. So I'm going to put you on hold for a second, and I'll see exactly what we can do. You've promised nothing, but the most importantly, you didn't promise them something that we're not going to do, which is call them back, send them an email, send them a letter. That will help the process. I did not expect the conversation to go that way. So you've gotten two really good prime issues that happen in sales. One is pre-qualifying, never pre-qualify. If they're on the phone, they potentially can be a buyer, right? We went through a lot of other things when it comes to deflecting an issue, but the most important thing is don't put them on hold for the wrong reason. And putting them on hold for the wrong reason is them thinking that we're going to email them, call them back, or they're going to call us back, or we're going to mail something to them, right? That is not why we put somebody on hold. So you need to pitch it, you need to price it, and you need to build a sense of what?
Urgency.
Sense of urgency. Pitch it, price it, sense of urgency. If you do those three things on every one of your calls, you will have one. You may get less flips, actually. Not to be an ass about this.
Yes.
You may flip
That's
less people,
yes.
but you will get more deals.
Yes.
If you pitch it, price it, and build a sense of urgency, you potentially could get less flips, but you will get more sales.
And we get paid on sales and not flips here.
Absolutely.
So let's put our mind in the right spot.
Well, with that said, have a wonderful rest of your Monday. If you're out in Riverside, I'll see you tomorrow or Wednesday. And take it easy, guys. All right, I actually need something.